Okay, be forewarned, this one's going to strike a nerve, but here we go. It's called You Can't Squeeze Blood Out of a Turnip. Tragedy has struck, you bit off more than you could chew, the bills are piling up, and now your child says he's got to have X amount of dollars for picture day or for a trip. Stop now. Remember on the bus? That's where a bunch of memories were made. Those pictures you're able to show your kids, and then they show their kids. If you don't have the money for that, then you ain't got the money to buy cigarettes or beer or whatever you buy for you that you needed. You know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You're living too high on the hog. Give your kid the money and do without whatever it was that you was going to use that money for. Granny would say you can't squeeze blood out of a turnip. Truth. But you're still buying that steak or smoking them cigarettes. Granny would say, we'll make it somehow. And you know what? They always did. You're here. So you too have always made it somehow. You can't squeeze blood out of a turnip, but you can squeeze that hand into your pocket and give that kid some money. You can. You'll figure it out. Money will come to you from some unforeseen source. It'll be okay, and you'll figure it out because you always do. Granny knew you needed that today. Yeah. Okay. So, I'm sure that if you haven't turned this off, you're amused or you're thinking, I can't wait to comment on this and tappy tap, 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 tap. I'm going to tell her. It's okay. It's okay. I smoked cigarettes for a long time. I get it. I get it. I've been poor. I've been on food stamps. I've been where you are. I know what's going on. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't wrote that. You think? You reckon I know what I'm talking about, or I probably wouldn't have said it. So I'm going to tell you a story. When my son was growing up, I never would say, hey, let's go buy food with food stamps. I'd say, let's put our food on the credit card today. But before it was card, they had booklets that had food stamps in it. And one time, and this has been 100 years ago, because now I'm an old granny, and he was a little boy, and now he's 31 years old. So that tells you it was a long time ago. However, this is going to make sense, so if you just stay with me for a second. So I had, I think, $15 in food stamps, and we didn't have food. So I went to the store, and I went in, and I think I bought a bag of potatoes, a couple bags of beans, some cornmeal mix, because I was going to make cornbread and potatoes, and it was just the two of us, so that would last till I could get food stamps or get money from a job or whatever. But I paid, and I went out in my car, and of course I was saying, thank you God for giving me what you gave me, because when you down to $15, now back in the day, $15 would buy enough to last for a little while if you did it right, and I knew how to do it right, so I did. But we're sitting there, and I hear a knock on my window, and I turn, and this woman's there, and she said, I noticed that you had a food stamp book, and somebody gave me some food stamps. And I said, oh, okay, here's my book. She said, no, I wanted to give the food stamps to you. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah, because I don't know how to spend them, and you was spending your food stamps, and these were given to me, and now I'm giving them to you. And I don't remember if it was 50, 75, or 100, but it was a lot. It was a lot for somebody that was down to their last $15, okay? I mean, when you got a little kid and you're down to $15 in food stamps, you know you're on the last rung. And when she walked away, well, of course, I said, thank you, and cried and told her. And that was a blessing for her, and that was a blessing for me. And of course, I cried and cried and cried because I knew that God had seen me. He had heard me. And I wasn't feeling sorry for myself. I wasn't saying, well, poor us, let's go take our last and bye. But God heard me, and He provided for me. Now, if you ain't a big believer, that's okay. You don't have to believe in my God. You don't have to believe in any God. If me and my God has our own thing going, we don't have to have you in the midst of it. But I believe what I believe because I've seen it with my own eyes. So that's mine. You can't take that from me. And I can't give you what you don't want to get. And I can't take from you what you don't want to give, and so on and so forth, okay? But anyway, the point that I'm making here on this that I wrote, you can't squeeze blood out of a turnip. I know 100 times I've said, well, I got to pay half that bill. What are they going to do? They can't squeeze blood out of a turnip. But I'll tell you what I'm getting at here. What I'm getting at is the fact that your little child didn't ask to be brought into this world. And if they had, you would have said no. Just kidding. That was just a little humor because I'm a little crazy. What I'm saying to you is that child, he don't care if you want to smoke a cigarette. He don't care if you want to dip. He don't care if you want a beer. He cares about you loving him. I can't tell you how many people's houses that I've been to that their mama was laying in the living room dying of cancer. When your mama laying in the living room dying of cancer, go. Give the kid the money. You only have one life. If you were going to live an eternity, and today wasn't going to matter worth a crap, would you spend that money on you, knowing you had eternity? Or would you give that money to your kid so he could see his pictures throughout eternity? You're the big decision maker. You're the one that's going to the Easy Mart, buying the pop. We ain't going to live in eternity. But if we did, would you spend the money on you? Or would you spend the money on him? That's all. Love you. Bye.